Hi, I'm back to tell you more stories. I am going to talk to you about the Ukrainian Brazil. Now we left Paraguay by bus. We went from Ecuador to Peru to Bolivia to Paraguay, and we experienced many kinds of buses and many kinds of roads. And when we got to Brazil, the roads were flat and there was no bumpiness. They were fabulous. The roads were really good. The buses were great buses. Plus, one of the things that I enjoyed is when you're on a bus and there's when you have to bring your own toilet paper to the bathroom. Some bathrooms were horrendous and some were good, but the bathrooms in Brazil not the bus stops, not at the terminals. Well, the terminals were good too, but when the buses would stop and let people off, Brazil had the nicest ones. The bathroom, you'd walk in the bathroom and there's silk plants and there's plants and silk tall trees and couches and chairs and bathroom stalls. It was really nice. And then, of course, the first thing you do when you get off the bus is you go straight to the bathroom, and then you go to the food area and the snacky area, and they give you this little card or a little square thing. And every time you buy something, you just zap it, and it gets recorded. And so if you go in to eat something, you may have a plate of meat or something. And then she weighs it, and then she marks down what the price is. And then if you get salad, and if you get vegetables, everything you order, because it's a huge buffet, and so whatever you choose gets recorded on this little square, and then you go and you eat it, or you could take it with you to the bus. And then there's chips and chocolate bars and all that too. And then when you're leaving, you can't leave until they've got you barred in there. You can't leave until you hand this thing over to the cashier and pay the cashier, and then the thing opens up and you're allowed to leave. So it was fabulous. It was a very nice stop when you had a 6 or 8 hour trip. And it was one of the nicest. So one of the places that I wanted to go to was, I wanted to see the Ukrainian community in Brazil. I heard a lot about it because there's people in my community that were, Ukrainian dancers were going down and dancing down there. And so we ended up going to a community called Prudentopolis, which has the largest number of Ukrainians in Brazil. And Brazil has the third largest Ukrainian population outside the former United or Soviet Union. So only Canada and United States have a larger Ukrainian population. So they had problems way back when they came, because their descendants came from an earlier wave of immigrants in the 18-somethings. And they had problems with the crops and the disease because of the weather. And so they sent word back to Ukraine, and so the Ukrainian immigration decreased, and then they started to go to Canada, and Canada replaced Brazil for immigration. So these descendants were from an earlier wave of immigrants, and they came from the Galician Western Ukraine area. And these Ukrainians in Galicia belong to the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church. Now, I went to the church. I wrote down 4 names. I wrote down my father's last name, Halus, H-L-U-S. His mother's maiden name, Homanuk. I wrote down my mom's last name, Wojja. And I wrote down my mother's last name, which is Mishu. So I wrote down all 4 names, and I went to the church, and I handed it to the priest and anybody else that spoke English, and asked them if they knew anybody there that had that last name. And we were running kind of out of time, and there was only one church service that I could have attended. I would have liked to do more, but it turned out there was a Homanuk, and there was somebody else as well. And so we met up at a restaurant and took pictures and chit-chatted. And she said, I said, well, when did your parents come over, your family come over? And she said, well, it was around 1906. And I said, that's pretty close about when my grandfather came over too. So apparently when the people in Galician area were deciding to immigrate somewhere, the groups just split up. Some went to Canada and some went to Brazil. So it was really interesting. There was a museum there in Prudentopolis, and I went to the desk at the hotel and I said, you know, we're here from Canada and we're thinking of, is there anything open to see? A museum maybe? She said, no, the museum's closed, but I'm going to make a phone call. And lo and behold, she talked to somebody and they came, picked us up and took us to the museum, opened the door, and yeah, it was fabulous. So when I'm in the museum, I see names and plaques of people from Alberta, from our area. And they had sent down some clothing and some items down to that museum. It was really interesting. And then there was a wall full of people that had paid, donated things or money or things, I'm not sure. And their names were on the plaque, and some of those names I recognized from here. They sure did. So that was interesting. So we spent a couple days there, and I'm telling you the difference between, because we traveled from Ecuador and then Peru and then Bolivia, and then when we went to Paraguay, you could see that there was a more European people. But when we got to Prudentopolis, almost every face I saw was somebody that looked like somebody in the community I grew up in. I went, oh my God, he sure looks like a so-and-so, and this guy sure looks like a so-and-so. They looked so much alike. I was amazed. So we spent a little bit of time there. It was a small community. Safe, very safe. Now, and then we went to Curitiba, and it's Curitiba. They say Curitiba. And it's one of the safest cities in Brazil. And the hotel room was, I think it was like $20 or something. And it was a beautiful hotel. And the breakfast was unbelievable. Unbelievable. It had everything. Like I said on the other previous video, they had breads and buns and cinnamon buns and muffins and, gosh, what else did they have? Eggs and bacon and ham, for sure. Oh, pierogies. They had pierogies there, too. It was fabulous. Very good. Very good. Cottage cheese, potatoes, ham, bacon, vegetables, fruit. It was really good. It was really good. Brazil had the biggest breakfast buffets I've ever seen. They're bigger than the normal buffets that we see in North America. So we go to Curitiba, and since it's the safest city, that I'm walking around on my own. And I walked probably till about 9 o'clock at night. There was lots of people, so I can walk around when there's a lot of people. I'm not afraid. So, especially if there's a lot of people looking like they're coming just from work. So, we spent a couple days there, and then we took a bus to the beach. And I will talk to you about the rest of Brazil, because there's a lot to tell you. We went to a beach city called, I don't remember what it's called. We went to a beach city, and then we went to São Paulo. São Paulo's big, one of the biggest cities in the world. And then we went to Rio de Janeiro, and we spent some time there, and then we went south. So I will tell you more on the next video. I will cut this one a little bit shorter, and if you like what you see, press like and subscribe. And I appreciate you guys listening to me. This Prudentopolis was very, very emotional for me, because when I was speaking to the priest and handed him over those 4 names of my family to find out if there's any of my family down there, I was a little bit choked up. It was like, oh my God, this is very, how can I put it? Yeah, it's very emotional. So, thank you. Press like and subscribe, and have a great day.